It's huge.
There we go.
Okay, just leave it there.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, actually, that'll work, yeah. Okay, so in terms of the visualization that we saw, in terms of the challenges that we saw with the previous visualization, number one, we felt like it was a lot of information with not a lot of context. Another one is that we felt like there was just a lot on the page to navigate and to understand. In terms of an icon, specifically with the legend, we felt like it wasn't necessarily intuitive. So if you just saw it for the first time, we might not know necessarily what those meant. And then lastly, and most importantly, is that the burden is on the user to figure out and analyze the data. So they have to explore it and come to their own conclusions as to where the thresholds have been overcome, that have gone above the threshold. So, with all that said, we wanted to address those challenges. The first thing is that we're thinking about this from the user perspective, from the audience, and it sounds like this audience is a group of people who want to know where different compounds are going above the threshold and then make recommendations so they can lower the threshold for these compounds. Like that's like the main question. So we're thinking about which questions we want to answer, and that's the first one, is in what locations do we see compounds that are above the threshold? So, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go to the other questions after that. So if we answer the question, which compounds are above the threshold, we wanna know after that, the user wants to know after that, how much of that compound is there. Over time, if there's increases and decreases in that compound. And then the last one was the hydraulic connectivity, I believe. So those were the questions that we were wondering, like how much over time is increasing or decreasing the hydraulic connectivity? Like what does that look like? So the dashboard that we designed, that's so beautiful, hopefully addresses those questions. So the first one, can you all see this?
I can make
And
it
maybe,
bigger.
okay.
Should I make it even bigger?
There we go, okay. So this would be a dashboard, like a 2D dashboard. The main thing that you see, this would be a map, and this map would answer the first question, is in what locations do we see a compound that is above the threshold? And we would know as a user because there would be different, let's just call them circles, there would be different areas that are highlighted in a color that show, hey, this is a warning sign, there's some compounds that are above the threshold. So as a user, we could click, navigate, do something, and then these other visualizations would answer those other questions. So this visualization answers the question, how much of the compounds are there? So each different bar chart, for example, would be a different compound, and you can see if it's above that certain threshold for that well. Also, I should clarify, these different circles are different wells. This line graph answers the question, over time, are we seeing an increase or decrease in the compound? And then this last one would be some visualization that shows hydraulic connectivity. I don't know yet. Lastly, over here is a filter for a number of different dimensions. So you could filter by well, you could filter by, what else?
Compound.
Compound. I'm going blank. Depth. Other things that you could think of, different dimensions you could filter by.
And then at the top, there was a sentence that really summarized, before you even had to look at all the charts,
Yes.
that sentence at the top tells you, like, this is at a threshold and threshold, and it's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the very top, imagine up here, like a descriptive text, almost like a title, would be like, it would say something, 5 out of 10 wells are above the threshold. And that would inform the user. So then they could explore it. So this both informs the user, the burden is not on them, but they could also explore it with the different filters and the map to look at the data more if they want. Also too, I'm gonna say right now, I looked at y'all's visualization after ours and it was almost identical. So
Oh.
no, I'm not saying, I'm saying we should like form a team and, make something.
Get the octagon together.
Yeah, we should group up.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
so then let's, one of the ideas here is to take the feedback from Jason and Anna, and also to see what's similar with the other teams.
Yeah.
And maybe get together with those teams and see if you can come up with one more iteration
Yeah.
And if you like that iteration, we can present it. But not everybody. I'm not going to ask everybody to present the second time. But at the very least, work with Jason. And so that's the end. Right?
That's the end.
That's the end.